Hello and welcome to Ixion. This is an upcoming game to be released hopefully in 2022 by Bulwark Studios and Casado Games. We are looking at the demo version, which you can play on Steam. This video will be focused on outlining how to play the game, focused on some of the basics. So we're going to play for about 15 to 20 minutes to outline some of the key pieces. I am going to skip cutscenes, minimize dialogue, so if that's something you want to see, happy to post another video, but I'm trying to remove spoilers to the story because there's kind of an interesting backstory to it. So let's skip this. Effectively here, we have a space city builder, which is
Shuttle
pretty
EMV-1
darn
is now
awesome.
docked.
I'm going to try to skip a bunch of this stuff. We're going to skip a bunch of this stuff. All right. So, let's talk basic commands. A few quick items. Number one, using the zoom wheel, you can zoom out to the outside and then zoom in, moving forward to the inside. This will be important because we also have interior, exterior view, and then we have a planetary system map. That is right, we are going to be traveling all around the solar system and maybe even other spots in our journey, which is exciting. So those are some basic commands. You can rotate using Q and E, and then you can also rotate back and forth using A and D, um, etc. So basic commands are right there for looking at controls, zooming in from that standpoint. Up here at the top, we have different resources. We have iron, which is turned into alloy. We have carbon, which is turned into polymers. Silicon, turned into electronics. Hydrogen, ice, food, waste, population, cryonic pods, and science, which we use to research more interesting things. So we are going to have to manage these for the purposes of this video and the fact that we are playing the call it prologue or demo. We're not going to get into some of these more advanced pieces in here, just given time and the fact that we are playing a demo version. All right, so down here you can click on build. The other, to open it up. And when we build, we start with a workshop and a stockpile. Here's the deal. Off the bat, it's important to build your stockpile first. So we're going to build a stockpile. And once it's built, so let's kind of accelerate. Okay, now it's ready to go because it was prefabbed. You want to click on it and you have to select the resource that this can store. Select alloy, and once you select alloy, that will allow you to collect these resources by clicking on them. So we are going to collect these resources. While we're at it, we are going to create a workshop right here next to it because that's important. We are going to want roads. Everything has to be connected. So for example here, we cannot click on these things because they don't have roads. So building roads are important. You can easily deconstruct them over here with the delete tool, so don't worry too much. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, we are going to start creating some housing so our people aren't homeless. So let's go here and create some housing. We're going to create housing. Down here in the bottom left, we can see our homelessness and how it looks for Sector 1. So right now, each of these can, I believe, fit how many people? 15 crew members, so we're going to need to create more of them.
I have established.
Alright, we're going to kind of skip this and not ruin any of that. Thank you. End discussion there. Alright, administrator, we want food, so we need to build a refectory. So let's commit to building a refectory. So we're going to go ahead and start that process. Before we do, though, I am going to create another stockpile over here. And so what we are going to do is each small stockpile can hold about 100 of whatever resource that we allocate to it. So we're going to come here, go boom, boom, and we're going to create 2 more because there are resources we need to collect. We can kind of switch this off and on to collect different resources if we so choose, just like that. But I just like to kind of keep each one kind of allocated to a specific resource. So we're going to pause here and build here. Okay, refectories are going to produce food, but they're only going to produce limited food. Prepares up to 10 food for up to 100 crew members every 0.5 cycles. We're going to build 2 of these. And here's the important thing. Just because you build the refectory doesn't mean you're feeding your population. You need to allocate a spot to stockpile it, which is really important. So we have to keep building these stockpiles, right? And then assigning them different things. So in this case, we're going to assign food to this one, and then we're going to assign polymers to this one, just so we can collect it. So let's go ahead and do it. You can see here, we need resources to build these, and we have to build a road. So we're going to accelerate time. And on this one, we are going to select polymers, and it's going to automatically kind of redeploy it, which is fantastic. All right, we have a refectory, which is awesome from this perspective. All right, a couple things here. When we think about this, we're going to want housing to make sure people aren't homeless, because that's going to have deleterious effects if we don't produce housing. So make sure that you produce housing for your people. That should about cover it. Once you're done with housing and food, which we're going to have to stabilize here, we're going to want to build over to the docking bay to allow for us to produce ships that can actually work in the universe. So we are going to work towards that right now. The most important thing we need to do is kind of build a pathway to get there. While I'm at it, I am going to build a pathway over here because we do have 300 food sitting here. So we're going to close this and skip it, because I don't want to ruin anything. Alright, you can see here we have 70 people that are very hungry, and they have every right to be hungry. So we need people to, alright, commit to building space for all living. We're going to do that. There are some spoilers here. I do apologize. And we're going to collect food and more resources as we go to kind of keep this ramped up. Now that we've selected or built to the docking bay, we can produce ships. So let's create a mining ship, a cargo ship, and a science ship. And get those built and deployed out in the universe. Right now we are contending with hunger. This should work to hopefully minimize it. So we are taking these resources and slowly but surely feeding people, not quite at the rate that we want. Alright, so we have this ship out there. Let's talk about ship management. We can manage our ship at any point in time by clicking the fleet management button, which has these exterior views. The way this works is we can assign a ship to collect different materials, which it will then go off and do. That's going to help us. So in this case, we are going to have this ship go out and mine iron that we can then turn into alloy to build. Cargo ships operate a little bit differently. They can actually pick up to 3 different materials from different areas. So if we go to the map out here, we have the Urshamnabi, which is basically a supply depot ship that it currently has 100 food. So as soon as our cargo ship is complete, which it is, we can now assign it to pick up certain things. So I'm going to assign it to pick up food, polymers, and alloy. We can assign medium by just clicking this and then selecting what we need, different priorities, so it'll focus on certain things. So we're going to focus on food, and then once we get the science ship here, we're going to send that to go do sciencey stuff. One thing we have to contend with is energy. We have to manage our energy, because if we overtax it, then it goes down and we don't have any energy and nothing works. So that's something to keep in mind. So with housing out of the way, food out of the way, let's get cracking on our research area. So this right here is the tech lab. The tech lab is super important as it does allow us to research tech. I'm going to place it right here. And we're going to get building on that. Alright. After we have our tech lab, we now have a research vessel. The way to use a research vessel is you click on the research vessel and then you left click where you want it to go. So once it gets here, we can then click this and do different things. In this case, we are going to start generating research from here. This is slowly being built.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Alright, and we get that verbal confirmation, which is helpful. And I'm just creating kind of roads here because we're going to want to deconstruct all that. Fantastic. And we're going to dismantle the camp. So you do that really quickly. Coming back here. Now that we have this, we can research different things. I'm going to go and recommend Eva Airlock. The Eva Airlock will allow us to construct exterior components to our station. And that is absolutely critical, especially to producing more power. So that is something I recommend that you do in the immediate term to ensure the survival of your ship. So let's take a quick look. We have our fleet doing our fleet things. There isn't really anything here to pick up right now from our transport ship. We have completed this. And our Galileo ship is now back. We're going to send it over here all the way to Mars. So left click, and assign it. So you want to make sure...
I have an incoming transmission from Dolus's head of medicine.
Alright, let's skip all this stuff. Basically here, we're also going to want to ensure that we maintain a healthy workforce, and the best way to do that is through creating medical services, which we're going to do here. I am a stickler for order, so we're going to quickly move some stuff around. Let's make sure our workforce is healthy. We are going to create more space to build more housing if we need it. And I'm going to come over here and build this road over here to ensure we can deconstruct all this stuff. So let's get constructing or deconstructing. We have to move these boxes, which is super important. Alright, we have that. We're going to start on our probe launcher. Now that we have unlocked EVA Airlock, the way we build this is through our structure, and we can place it. Now the challenge is we need a space to place it because it takes a lot to create an airlock. So we are going to go ahead and try to use all these materials, but this is the tricky thing. We have to watch our energy because we're at our energy limit, and we need the EVA airlock to produce energy externally. So we're going to click on this, which brings up our energy grid, and we are going to power off our research and development to give us a little more space, which will help in the short term. So you click that back on because everything's paused when you're doing that. And let me think about what we want to do here. We're going to create some more areas that we can kind of maintain construction. We're going to run this. Ooh. Hold on, not what I wanted to do. let me take another crack at this. Much better. Just need a pathway to the other spot. Alright, you are working down resources, which is fantastic. I'm gonna need resources that go to that. Alright. So we need to move all these resources. That's what we're doing here. It's kind of far away, so it's going to take some time to collect. And we're collecting resources over here. So if I was smarter, I wouldn't have probably did what I did there, but I'm not. So we're just gonna have to keep building stuff to use supplies so we can take supplies. So effectively we're clearing out space to create the Eva Airlock, and I'll show you why. So right here, we're gonna remove this, remove all of this stuff. I am retentive like that. And we are going to... Let me see here. Oh, I don't think we can build right here because of that little sign. Shoot, so you know what we're going to need to do? We're gonna need to take all this stuff. So let's go ahead, get cracking on that to create more space, which we have done. So in thinking about this, we're gonna turn this off. We are going to turn that off because we don't need those housing components. All right. That should go away here. Alright, great. Fantastic. We are going to produce that, and this is going to use, if we look at this, this is really important. This uses 12 energy. So we have to use logic here to think about when this goes online, we need to turn something off. Otherwise, bad things will happen. So we're going to go ahead and turn this one off to make sure that everything else doesn't get shut down. And then we have to figure out how and when we can create a more energy efficient, how we can produce more energy. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright. Once this is constructed, we are going to be able to build stuff externally. So one thing I forgot to do is always be checking your research. And we're going to assign this ship to help out there, which is going to bring cargo. And now that this is out here, we can do external construction. And one of the first things we're going to want to do is let's put a small panel on. And as we think about this, one of the things that we're going to want our fleet to do is we're going to focus on carbon, which we turn into polymers, because we're going to have limited opportunity. But now that we've increased it, we can turn some stuff on. We still want to be careful to make sure we don't exceed our power limit, because that would be very, very bad.
A science ship team has
Alright,
completed
we're
a
going to
task.
request additional staff. Now we're up to 105. Luckily, we were able to cover that. Now, we have probes. Let's talk about probes here. Before we can talk about probes, we need to clear off some more space to put the probe. So let's grab all these resources. Alright, so as we think about everything going on, for the probe launcher 6, so we should be more than covered. Huh. Oh, it's that thing right there. Son of a gun. We need to build out. So there is some strategy here where you kind of want to build more centrally, to be honest, because that's going to give you options to tack on things externally. So we're going to place this as almost as far over as possible. If we think about how this is going, let's run this over here, because we want to be able to run to other parts of the ship. There we go. Alright, now we have massive food challenges, which is not surprising. We are going to want to create more food ASAP. So let's go do that. Boom, boom. Watching our power, 5 and 5. We're going to need to turn something off. And I think, you know, unfortunately, I think we are locked out of all our research. Given that that is locked for the... So that's locked for the demo. Technology tier 1. Huh, I'm not sure what that means, to be honest. So one of the things that when we're out here in this view we can build, one of the important things is you also have specials. So we can build this Vol engine. That is critical to the story, so make sure you do that. And one of the things that I'm now contending with here is power. So we're going to turn this one off, because I don't want to go over power. This will be done in a second. Construct a probe. So we're going to construct a probe. And then one of the things I'd like to do out here is just think about, you know, small panels. We can build some more small panels to help us with some of our energy. So we should be in much better shape. All this stuff will be constructed in a little bit, although we need to turn on...
Administrator, the different phases of preparation, calibration, and verification were successfully completed. You must now start the full bonding procedure.
Alright, so here we go.
To gather resources, knowledge, and test colonization routines once you reach Proxima Centauri.
What we're gonna do here...
Vanir Dolos, Marduk Council founder and Dolos CEO, wants to talk to you.
Alright, so we should be getting some more food over there. We're gonna...
Administrator, due to incident...
We're gonna talk to this guy, skip through all this stuff. Alright, now we're out of power, which is super unfortunate. I thought that might happen. Let's turn that off. We can turn back on. You have to wait a certain amount of time before you can turn things back on. And then we're going to kind of build this, make sure we get those resources. And we are working hard to make sure we're feeding everybody, which is extremely important. So overall, we've done well. You can see here we finally upgraded power additionally, which is good. So we have to balance that as we go, being a space station. And we are in good shape. So, how do we move the big station? Well, suffice to say, we can move it by clicking this button now that we have our engine. And we can pick on a celestial body. So let's go over here. We are going to skip this. I don't want to ruin anything to whatever degree possible. And we are now in process of moving. We're going to head you over to Saturn. And when we think about this, high priority food. So, we will handle that. We have danger. Sector workplace safety is at high risk, which is not good at all. And we are right on our electricity boundary. We're gonna have to reduce our risk. We're also going to I wonder, I think we can tuck this in there. I don't think so. We'll tuck that there so then if someone is injured.
Science ship has arrived at destination.
Let's do our science ship over here. I'm gonna send a team to investigate, hopefully gain more research. And yeah, I think here we're probably gonna do some extra technology here. We can't do that in the demo, but in the game we're gonna have to upgrade it. So that's kind of a quick playthrough. This game is very addictive and peaceful. So we're playing 27 minutes. Holy smokes. Well, if you went on to find this video hopefully informative, I know it threw a lot at you and I got sucked in, as I tend to do with games like this. This is Ixion. You can play the prologue or the demo, I'm not sure exactly what they're calling it, on Steam. If you did go on to find this helpful, please consider dropping a thumbs up and hope to see you in future videos. Shadow Coast out.